All defense counsel are present. All defendants. Call in the jury, please. Hello, Mr. Stewart. Again, for the record, I am Billy Southern, Evans Lewis's attorney. And sir, you're still under oath. All right, proceed, please. We were looking at that document, right? Yeah. Do you recall that? And we agreed that 8 of those 9 crimes for which you have immunity are murders, right? Yeah. And then we agreed that in addition to those 8 murders, you also pleaded guilty to the murders of Quelton Broussard, Calvin Celestine, and Gregory Keys, right? Yeah. And we agreed that that was 11, and then you volunteered that in addition to those 11, you also in your factual basis agreed, and also in your testimony, you've testified on direct that you had participated and were directly involved with and, in fact, murdered Magnolia Shorty and Jerome Hankton, right? Yes. And we agreed that that's 13 murders that you are responsible for, right? Yes. And my next question was, is that it? Are there other murders that you've committed? Is there a 14th murder, 15th murder, 16th murder, 17th murder? Are there other murders that you've committed? And that's the question. I ain't do no more murders. I gave the government everything that I know. Okay. And just to be clear, I am defining murder as any instance where you really wanted someone to die and then brought about the circumstances that led to them being killed, right? Can we agree that for the purposes of our conversation today that that's what a murder is? So whether you pulled the trigger or not, if you really, really wanted to kill somebody and they died, or if you really, really wanted to kill somebody and someone else died by accident, that's a murder for purposes. Judge, I would object to that definition. Objection sustained. We agreed earlier that you didn't need to pull the trigger to be a murderer, right? Yes. So you killed Gregory Keys, right? Yes. Okay. And so using that definition of murder, I just want to be clear that when we talk about 13 murders, that includes murders where you didn't pull the trigger. So again, I'll just ask the question just to clarify. Are there more murders that you participated in where you killed somebody or were involved with killing somebody aside from those 13? That's all I got. I gave the government everything I got. Okay, that's it. Only 13. Okay. Strike that last statement from the record. So, 13 murders, and at present you have a life sentence, right? 4 life sentences and 20. 4 life sentences and 20. So the jury understands. You got life sentence for count 1, life sentence for count 3, life sentence for count 4, life sentence for count 8. So there's your 4 life sentences, 1 for the drug conspiracy and 3 for those 924J murders. And then you got the 20 years on that 924O gun conspiracy count, right? Is that how it added up? I am not trying to trick you. Yeah. And we agreed earlier that the judge could have sentenced you to less than life, but she chose not to, right? Yes. But the main event in this plea agreement for you, as I understand it from your other testimony, is this, right? That the government agrees to bring to the attention of the court any cooperation rendered by the defendant prior to sentencing, right? So this paragraph, as you understand it, captures the fact that even though you currently have a life sentence, or rather you have 4 life sentences, that you can give some of that time back and you can end up with numbers rather than letters, right? If the judge decided to give it to me. And it would need to be 2 steps, right? It would need to be that the U.S. Attorney's Office would need to decide that they were going to file a motion at all, right? Yeah, if they decide to do it. So they need to decide to do it. And once they decide to do it, they'll tell the judge everything that you've done in their view, all of the things that they've been helpful, all of the things that you've been helpful with. And that's the only thing that they're obligated to do, is to provide the judge with that information about what assistance that you provided, right? Yes. But they're the only ones that get to decide whether a motion is filed at all, right? The government. The government, right? Yeah. And when this provision of this plea was particularly problematic for you, right? Because you wanted something up front, right? I don't know what that word problematic means. Okay. You didn't like that provision of this plea agreement because you wanted to get some of the benefit from your cooperation up front, right? I don't care when it comes, as long as it comes. As long as it comes. Okay. And we talked about your sentencing hearing, right? And you were sentenced on March 3rd, 2015, correct? Yeah.
Judge, I'd object to the introduction of a prior transcript of his. It's a prior transcript in which he discusses Gregory Keys' murder. It's sworn testimony. I think he can ask about it. If he's inconsistent, then he can impeach him. What impeachment is it? I mean, ask him questions, and the proper impeachment would be if he states something different on the witness stand than prior testimony. Certainly you can impeach him on that. But just to read through all of that, I'm not going to allow it. It's not my intention to read through all of that. That's one relevant part. I don't think that it needs to be a prior inconsistent statement in order for the witness to testify to it or to affirm it. During direct examination, they played reams of material that were, that were not prior inconsistent. They were prior statements by the witness. So I don't see how it's distinguishable. Well, it is distinguishable. Go ahead and proceed. Okay. Do you recall that during your sentencing hearing, and just to set the stage, you were sentenced before Judge Brown, right? Yeah. And Judge Nanette Jolivet Brown is a judge in this building, right? Yeah, Judge Brown. Judge Brown. And she is the judge that the whole prior case was before, right? That who? The whole case that you were on is in front of Judge Brown, right? Yeah, that's the judge that I went to. Okay. And the whole case that we've been talking about that you were charged in and that Evans was charged in and other people were charged in, that was all in front of Judge Brown, right? Yeah. And at your sentencing hearing, you appeared in front of her and you were sworn in at your sentencing hearing. Isn't that correct? Yes. Because you made various statements to the court, right? What? You made statements to the court. You spoke in the court, right? Yeah. And obviously at that point, you needed to be completely truthful when you're under oath in court, right? Yeah. And, when you were in court, your lawyers were obviously arguing for you to get a sentence less than life, right? No. No. Okay. But that's what was being decided there, right? Whether you would get life or something less than life, right? No. I knew I was getting life out the gate. Maurice told me that's what he's shooting for, a life sentence. But it ended up I got 4 life sentences and 20. Okay. But Maurice, I think we just decided before that Maurice is not in charge of your sentence, right? Yes. It's up to the judge, right? Yeah. Okay. So when you appeared in front of Judge Brown, as we said before, because of the way you were charged, it could have been anywhere from 0 to life, right? Yeah. But my guideline came back to life. Okay. Okay. And as part of the sentencing proceeding, Gregory Keys' mother, Crystal Keys, appeared at the sentencing hearing. Is that right? She was on the phone. She was on the phone. So but you could hear her and she could hear you, right? Yeah. And she made a lengthy statement about, the case and her son. Isn't that correct? Yeah. And then you asked the judge whether you could make a response, have an oral response to what she said. Isn't that correct? Yeah. Okay. And you told her that you didn't know that Smokey was in the car that night. Isn't that right? I didn't know at that time. So you're testifying today that you didn't know that Gregory Keys was in the car that was coming over to Congress Street that night. That's your testimony? I said I didn't know Gregory Keys was in that car at that time. So it's true that you testified and sought to tell Ms. Keys that you didn't know that Smokey was in the car, and then you testified, I wasn't the gunman. And moreover, that if you had been there, that it wouldn't have happened that way. No. No. I said that if I was a gunman, it wouldn't have happened that way. That means that I never would have shot Smokey because Smokey was a good dude. And I know if we just tell him, don't say nothing, he ain't gonna say nothing. So Smokey was like our friend. Ken was like part of our friend too, but it just, he had to go. But we ain't know he was bringing no Smokey with him. If I'd known Smokey was in that car, I'd have just said, if I'd had the gun, I'd never shot Smokey. I'd have just told him to get out the car and come with us. He'd roll with that. So you're testifying today that what you're saying right now is true and that what you told Ms. Keys at the sentencing hearing is also true? What that is on that paper that's typed. You got to listen to the words. It could be mistyped. I just read it to you. I am just asking you to confirm what I read to you before. I wouldn't have done it if I knew Smokey was there. That's your testimony? I said that if I had the gun. I knew I was there. If you read more, you'll see that I'm saying that I was there on the scene. Okay, agreed. But my point is that what you're saying, just so it's crystal clear, is that you had no idea that Gregory Keys was in that car, and had you known, it wouldn't have gone down like that, right? Judge, asked and answered. Objection sustained. Let's go. Move on. Okay. But that's not true, is it? Because you did know that Gregory Keys was in that car that night, didn't you? I knew when we left from the scene. That's when I knew. No, I'm talking about before the shooting occurred. You were 100% aware that Gregory Keys was in that car. How was I 100% aware if I never talked to Gregory Keys at all? Well, but you did talk to Gregory Keys that night multiple times on the telephone, didn't you? I talked to Gregory Keys and told him to call Ken to come meet me. When Gregory Keys called Ken, then Ken called my phone. That's when I started talking to Ken. But other than that, I never knew that Gregory Keys was in that car. So, if Kendrick Smothers testified that you and Smokey were talking on the phone and that you planned with Gregory Keys to have him come to that crime scene, Kendrick Smothers is lying about that? Kendrick Smothers lied and told them that I was the one who's shooting. So I mean, at the end of the day, he's saying what he's saying, and I'm saying what I'm saying. I know that I ain't know that Gregory Keys was in that car. What I got to lie about it for if I'm pleading out to it? Okay. Isn't it true that you were aware of the fact that earlier that day, Ken and Smokey Gregory Keys had been involved in a drive-by shooting? Isn't that correct? Yeah, I knew about that. Okay. And that they did that together, right? Yeah. That they got into some kind of problem in the lower Ninth Ward, and they got into an argument with a guy named Peter Santiago, right? I don't know the dude's name. I ain't say no name. I just said across the canal. Okay. So, but across the canal, Smokey, Gregory Keys, and Kendrick Smothers got into it with a guy, and then had their hitman, Kenneth Bud Jones, go around and try to kill the person down in the park down there, right? I don't know. I wasn't there. But that's what you heard, right? Ken told me that he got into it with a dude and they done the shooting. I ain't never knew Bud was the one who done the shooting. So I don't know. I don't know about all of that. And with Gregory Keys, I ain't really know if he was a shooter. I thought Ken was a shooter. But come to find out, Bud was a shooter. So I don't know. It's just going by what people saying. Ken told me, so I don't know what's true and what's not true. But my point is that when you called Gregory Keys to have Kendrick Smothers come over to Congress Street to kill him, you knew that both of them had been involved in that together earlier, right? Judge, I'm going to object. Cause for hearsay. Overruled. It's not for the truth. Overruled. Listen, this is what I'm saying. When I called Gregory Keys, Ken was nowhere near him. Ken wasn't around. I told Smokey to call Ken and tell Ken to come meet me, come holler at me. Okay. So you called Gregory Keys and you got Gregory Keys and you said, Gregory, tell Ken to come around my way, right? Yeah, I told him to call me first. And around what time do you think you had that phone call? I don't know what time. That happened a long time. I don't know what time in that. So you don't remember that. Was your Was your phone number at the time 458-6056? I don't know. If that's the phone that was tapped, I don't know. I don't know my phone number. That was a long time ago. Okay, but your testimony is you and Gregory Keys didn't talk after that on the phone? We what? After that time where you called Gregory Keys and you said, "Hey, Smokey, can you get Ken to come over?" What your testimony is that you never talked to Smokey again that night. Is that right? No, I did never say that. I don't know. I just know that I wanted Ken dead. I didn't want no Smokey dead, and I didn't know Smokey was in the car. That's my testimony. Other than that, I don't know nothing about all of the rest of that. Did you talk to Smokey numerous times while they were driving over to see you together? I told you, I talked to Ken on the phone. I didn't ever talk to Smokey. You never talked to Smokey? No. Okay. And you never told the U.S. Attorney's Office or the FBI that you knew that Smokey was in the car, that you knew that they were together that night. You never told them that? I told the government that when I got in the car, that's when I found out that Smokey was the one who Evans killed. I didn't ever see because when they pulled up, I walked off. The plan was when Ken pull up and he get out to kill him. I never seen it in the car. So what you're saying is that what you said to Ms. Keys, what you said in front of Judge Brown is true? Yeah. I told Ms. Keys that if I was a shooter, if I had the gun, that I'd never kill Smokey because Smokey was like a good friend of me and I'd never done him that. At the conclusion of the sentencing hearing where the judge sentenced you to life in prison, you were terribly disappointed, right? 4 life sentences. You were terribly disappointed, right? Yeah. Because you thought that all the work that you had done, that you should have at least gotten 1 life sentence, right? No. Well, no. Explain why you were disappointed. The reason why I was disappointed is because I thought I was going to get 1 life sentence. But come to find out, she ran it consecutive and gave me 4 life sentences and 20, and that's why I was disappointed. I already know out the gate that the government wasn't giving me no credit or no 5K1 letter or no Rule 35 at sentence. I knew that because everything that was going on would never finish. Okay, so you thought that a fair outcome would have been 1 life sentence or the 4 life sentences run concurrent? Ain't nothing fair with a judge. The judge do what they want to do. I just thought that it was going to go 1 life sentence. I'm looking at my PSI. It say life. It didn't say 4 life sentence, so that's why I was mad. I didn't know, about what was going to happen or not. That's what a judge got to say so. Yeah, I was mad because we'll be happy with 4 life sentence. Okay. And when you told Judge Brown at the sentencing hearing that you were sorry and that you just wanted to do your time and, that's what you deserve, that was a lie, wasn't it? What you mean? You're not sorry, are you? Sorry about what? About the 13 people you killed. I mean, I feel bad because I shouldn't have been doing that. But at the end of the day, if I don't kill them people, they're going to kill me. So why would I just wait for them to kill me? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be smart and kill them first. It ain't like that I just said, oh, I'm going to kill these people for nothing. That's the people that we supposed to kill.